Well, hi there, friends. I am Paula, and you are in my kitchen in fabulous Las Vegas. I am really glad to have you with me. Now, speaking of fabulous Las Vegas, I'm going to make a recipe today from one of our famed chefs that has a bunch of restaurants down on the Strip, and that will be Mr. Bobby Flay. He did a cookbook recently called Sundays with Sophie, where he shared a bunch of recipes that he loved to make for his beloved daughter, Sophie. And when I saw this one, my eyes popped. It's called Meatball Parm Sliders, and I cannot wait to give this one a try. Let's talk about what goes into the meatballs first. There are actually 3 kinds of meat going in. I'm loving it already. Ground beef, ground pork, and some extra thick cut bacon. We're going to fry those up in some EVOO, and of course we're going to hold them together with breadcrumbs, eggs, Parmigiano-Reggiano cheese, and a bunch of garlic. Then, once we've sauced them up, we're going to serve them on little dinner rolls, mozzarella cheese in the broiler browning them up, and some arugula, just so we have a little bit of greens. Now, Bobby also shared a sauce recipe that goes with the meatballs, so we'll be back in a little bit to talk about what goes into the sauce, but first, let's get going on those meatballs. Let's talk prep like we always do. So I have half a pound of the ground beef, and Bobby recommends 80% lean on that. I also have half a pound of the ground pork, which happens to be sold 80% lean. And I cut up about 3 slices of that thick sliced bacon, about as much of a dice as I could achieve to get 1/2 cup packed. So those are my meats that are going into the meatball. Now, I also have 1/4 cup of just regular plain breadcrumbs. I have a 1/2 cup of the Parmigiano-Reggiano cheese. I have a 1/4 cup of that lovely flat leaf parsley. Oh my gosh, it smelled great cutting it up. And the last thing, it was a new technique for me, 4 cloves of garlic that first of all I diced, and then I had to mash with the trusty mortar and pestle into a paste with a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Never did that in my life, so new technique I just learned. And then we've got our 2 eggs. So this is everything that's going in the meatballs. Let's get going on those. I got out a small saucepan and I've turned the heat on medium here on the stove. I've got 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in here and warming that up for a moment. So I'm going to take my mashed up 4 cloves of garlic with a little bit of kosher salt, and my instructions say to saute it in the oil, stirring constantly for a minute. So let's see if this is warming up, getting a little bit of a shimmer. So let me throw in my paste. This is interesting. New techniques. I love new techniques. Ooh. All right. Stir for a minute. So I'm sure you're all familiar with Bobby Flay, of course. He's a household name. He's got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And he actually first came to Vegas in 2004 with his Mesa Grill over at Caesar's Palace right by the sports book. We actually had dinner at the Mesa Grill some years back. Now in 2021, he replaced it, of course, with Amalfi, which is the Italian coastal restaurant. We can't even get a reservation in that place. And you probably, if you saw our burger video not too long ago, he's also got 3 Bobby's Burgers here in town, all in Caesar's properties. So he's got 4 here in Las Vegas. Very popular name here on the Las Vegas Strip. All right, so after a minute, I simply set this aside to cool because it's actually going into the meatball mess in a moment. And I wasn't timing it, but that feels like about a minute to me. So I'm going to turn the heat off because I'm starting to see a little bit of browning. Got my 2 eggs in a big old bowl, and I'll just break those up a little bit to get things started. Now I'm going to add in my sauteed garlic from just a moment ago. Try to always do it towards you so you can see. While it cooled, it definitely got crispy. And I think they didn't say not to, so I think I'm going to just pour the oil in as well. Do the whole thing here. That's very interesting how that turned out. All right, There's my garlic. Now, I also need my 1/4 cup of the flat leaf parsley, and last but not least, 1/2 cup of the Parmigiano-Reggiano. And I whisk all that together as our first step, the base for our meatballs. Wow, I need smell-o-vision. You won't even believe how great the garlic and the parsley and the cheese smell already. So once I have that whisked together, I take 1/4 cup of just plain breadcrumbs, and those go in next. All right, it's starting to look like a base for meatballs, isn't it? Let me double check my recipe. I think at this point, I season with some salt and pepper, and they don't say how much, so I think I'll just eyeball it. A little bit of fresh ground pepper, and a little bit of kosher salt. This is so cool. It comes out in flakes, kosher salt. It's interesting. So we are now, I think, ready for our meats. Let me check. Here they come. 3, count them, 3 different kinds of meats. So first of all, we're going to throw in these pieces of bacon. Thick cut bacon. Next, the pork and the beef. And off come my rings, because at this point, we're mushing things together by hand. All right, here we go. Dive in with both hands and mix this very, very well. So once I have this all completely mixed and combined, they have to go in the refrigerator for a minimum of an hour, and you can even let them sit longer. So while I have them in the refrigerator, we're going to make the tomato sauce. It's going to go with the sliders, and hopefully everything will be all done at the same time. Take a look in the overhead. What do you think? That looks really, really good already. All right, I'm going to cover this up. It's going in the refrigerator. I'll see you in a minute. Bobby's tomato sauce to go with our sliders. This is a unique little recipe, not a lot of ingredients. We're going to use, for the base of the sauce, some whole peeled tomatoes, 2 cans of those. We're going to flavor it with some more garlic, onion, crushed red pepper, of course EVOO again, and some fresh herbs. We've got the flat leaf parsley, we've got some fresh basil, and we're going to add a pinch of sugar. I never put sugar in my sauce. Looking forward to this. I think it's going to be chunky because we're not cutting those pieces of tomato up. So let's make sauce. I've got a larger saucepan for my sauce. I just turned the heat on medium-high, and I'm going to measure in 3 tablespoons of the extra virgin olive oil. So we got to, as usual when you're making tomato sauce, don't we always start with onions and garlic? At least I do. So there's number 1, number 2, and number 3. So as soon as that shimmers a little bit, we will drop in, first of all, the onions, and I just need to sweat those for a little bit. This is 1 big old Spanish onion. Let's see if we got a little sizzle going on. All right, so 3 or 4 minutes on the onions. And then I will drop in the garlic. Now Bobby has an optional thing, which I'm going to put in because, hey, let's live dangerously. It's Las Vegas, it's wild. 1/2 teaspoon of the red pepper flakes. So that'll add a little bit of zing to the sauce. I've never put that in my tomato sauce, but we're experimenting, so let's go with it. All right, I'm gonna sweat these for 3 or 4 minutes, and I'll be back with you. In go my 3 cloves of garlic and my 1/2 teaspoon of the red pepper flakes. Oh, that's interesting. All right, about 1 minute on this, and then my 2 28-ounce cans of the Roma tomatoes, peeled and whole, are going to go in, and I need to bring that to a boil. Ooh, The garlic and the peppers certainly add to the aroma in the kitchen. Been a minute. Let's toss in our 2 cans of tomatoes. Make a big splatter. That's why we wear aprons. All right, not too bad. Whew, there we go. All right, so I am going to stir this together with its flavorings and bring it to a boil. My tomato sauce is coming to a nice rolling boil. Smells great. So what I need to do now is lower the heat to simmer and drop in that pinch of sugar. So I'll just lower the heat for a little bit. And I have a little sugar bowl here. I'm going to literally pick up a pinch. That looks like a pinch to me. All right, so what this has to do now is simmer for 45 minutes or an hour. And as it's simmering, to basically thicken and mix all the flavors together, got an old potato masher. Yes, it's from Tupperware. I can't even tell you how old this is. And I just gently mash the tomatoes a little bit as they cook down so that we end up with a nice sauce with lots of cool pieces in it, like so. Meanwhile, while this is cooking, I'm going to pull my meatballs out of the refrigerator. It's been, or will have been, about an hour, and we're going to get those cooking. Well, that was a little trial and error. It's supposed to make 12 meatballs, and I kept making them too small, so I kept having to supplement them, but I actually have 13. That's close enough. I've got a big old deep saucepan and we are ready to start our meatballs. I'm going to drop in 3/4 cup of the extra virgin olive oil. Now, while that's heating up, the pan's already hot, I want to show you my sauce real quick, just in the overhead. Let me pull it over and just show you how the tomatoes are breaking down, and it's been on for about a half hour at this point. Really liking how that sauce is coming out. All right, well, hey, we've got a nice shimmer on this, so we're just going to fry up the meatballs, and it takes about 8 minutes. I'm going to turn them on all the sides. Let me just make sure we get nice hot oil before I put these in. Cameron Mandel's excited to try these. This is a manly thing we're going to be having today. All right, this is a lot of oil, so hopefully they'll be cooking up the sides and it won't take too long. All 13 of them fit. So let me get watching these brown up really nicely, and we'll be back. That was a very fun little 8 minutes. You won't even believe how great these smell. Dale came over and said, let me turn some of them, because he's just hovering over this amazing smell of these meatballs. And he broke off a little piece to taste, and big thumbs up. So I have them sort of standing on end to kind of cook the sides. So it's been 8 or 10 minutes, and I'm going to take these off the fire for a minute because I need to finish the sauce. And I want to show you what happens next with the sauce. Let's put those back on simmer for a minute. 2 things to finish it off. It's been going for about 45 minutes. This is 2 tablespoons of fresh basil and 2 more tablespoons of the fresh parsley. And that is the piece de resistance on that sauce. So I need to drain the meatballs, and then we're going to put 4 cups of this beautiful sauce into our big old frying pan. Whew, yum. Stick with me. Let's just do this. Swap again. And I have a cookie sheet that I need to grab to drain these on some paper towels. So back in a sec. So I pulled the meatballs out and they're draining on paper towels, and I poured off the excess oil, but I left those drippings in the bottom of the pan. Now I need 4 cups of this wonderful sauce, and I'm going to put that right in my frying pan. The heat's on medium, so that's not quite 2. Woo! How do you like that? For some sauce action. So that's half of it. Grab the other half. Wow, look how those tomatoes broke down. Oh my gosh. All right, done with the sauce. I'm going to turn that off. Let me get my spurtle and scoop up all that wonderful flavor that's on the bottom of this pan. Wow, look at that sauce. All right, so my meatballs are going back in and I'm going to simmer for 20 minutes. In the meantime, as I said, I'll go ahead and broil the little slider buns and we're going to get ready to assemble these babies. In go the meatballs. And if in case you don't know, we're having game day around here with the Vegas Golden Knights being in the Stanley Cup. So, so do like so. Get the meatballs embedded in the sauce. And I will see you in 20 minutes to start putting these babies together. 20 minutes later, look at this. While you were gone, I broiled the tops and bottoms of my little slider rolls, and I have the bottoms here arranged on a cookie sheet because we are ready to assemble these. Now, the recipe makes 12. Since there's only 2 of us eating, I'm only gonna make 6. You get the idea though. So, first step is you put a little bit of sauce on the bottom of each one of these. And boy, that's a hunk of tomato right there. So I'll do that 6 times. All right, there's my sauce. Now, get some nice big meatballs. There's 1. Woo, look at that. 5, and who's coming over for sliders? Raise your hands. That one doesn't have enough sauce. A little more sauce. Okay, now, I sliced the mozzarella 1/8 inch thick and boy, that's generous. But if you look at the picture on Bobby's website, that's kind of how they look. They're kind of draped over top of the meatballs, so I'm doing it the way Bobby does it. All right, and last but not least, the recipe says use the remaining 1/4 cup of the Parmigiano. Since we're only doing half of it, that's 2 tablespoons. And I'm just gonna sprinkle on top. Now these are going under the broiler for 2 to 4 minutes until they're brown and bubbly. And the next time I see you, we're gonna be at the dinner table and I'm gonna have a guest taster. Well, hi, look who I found.
Mr. Director.
Mr. Director. We had him clean up while things were getting ready to put on the table. Look at these absolutely incredible meatballs now that they have been singed a little bit in the oven. So what you do here, Mr. Dale, is if you want some additional sauce, you can take some.
I
put
do.
a little bit of arugula on top and then
I'm just going to do 1.
take a bun top. Yeah, we'll do 1.
Just do a little bit of sauce.
Yep. With those broken down
There you go.
tomatoes.
This is, what is this?
Baby arugula, so you have your greens.
All right, don't need a lot of that.
And grab a bun top.
And I got a top.
Yeah.
Okay, how about you? You going to go?
I'm going to do the same. But don't wait
These
for
have
me.
smelled so amazing all day. It's so hard to not just put your finger in the bowl. And, you know what I mean? I'm going to go for it.
Go, please do. I'm
They're
still
really
working.
hot.
I'm still working.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think?
Wow. Oh, that is A1.
We knew it. First of all, it's Bobby Flay.
Yeah.
Second of all, those meatballs, every step of the way, smelled so amazing. The whole idea of the half and half beef and pork and the bacon.
Oh,
How could it not be great? All
here's
right.
the whole deal. You can taste a little bit of bacon, definitely a little onion, but that sauce is absolutely amazing.
I haven't tried it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that
go.
sauce just sells it. Making a mess.
How can you help it? They're sliders.
Good.
That is so. Oh, I'm speechless. It is so good. Wow. Oh my gosh. It was a lot of steps. Not that any of the steps were hard, but it was a lot of steps. Wow, that is. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you could see this in the camera, but it is just super tender and moist inside.
The meatball is like a little mushy inside. It's just so moist. It's got, wow, what is that, arugula? good.
Baby arugula, yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling you what.
That's finger looking good.
I like that a lot. I really like that a lot.
I almost can't wait to have leftovers tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
There's a lot of sauce left, so we could definitely even have them open face.
Am I allowed to keep going?
Please do.
I mean, I know this is your channel and all, but...
Hey, you can be a guest on my channel and taste things anytime you want. All of you can. Anyway, this is yum. Big thumbs up, Bobby Flay's Meatball Parm Sliders.
Now,
terrific.
Is Bobby Flay the hamburger place, right?
Yeah, Bobby's Burgers that you love so much.
I love Bobby's Burgers.
Yeah.
There's
3 of those in town.
She made this for his daughter, right?
Yeah. It's in the recipe book of recipes for his daughter. Yeah.
Congratulations. Very, very good. Nice job. Paula, you did a nice job on this.
Thank you, my dear.
We had a couple little glitches while we were filming, but nobody has to know about that, right?
You don't. Or you'll see them in the outtakes at the end of the year. And thank you, as ever, for being cameraman and every other role in the production.
I am the director. I forgot that I had this hat, and I need to keep wearing this hat because it shows my authority while we're filming. Because sometimes she wants to take over, and that just can't work.
Right. That's the end. Thanks so much for being with me in Paula's Las Vegas kitchen.
Bye, everybody.